Welcome to the first ever Eagles pregame show here at Philly Sports Reports, brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Philly Sports Report to save $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Today, we have the Eagles kicking off against the Detroit Lions, 1 p.m. Eastern Time in Detroit. Today, we have Colin Daly, who's behind the scenes, myself, and Sam Hine. Founder Benjamin Goldstein is absent today, but he will be on the show for the next game. First thing we're going to dive right into is the quarterback matchup. We have Jared Goff versus Jalen Hurts. Sam, what do you got?
So I think the Eagles have the advantage at quarterback today. I mean, Goff might be a little bit of a better passer. Last year, he threw for 3,144 yards and 19 touchdowns, while Hurts only threw for 16 touchdowns. But I think the Eagles have the advantage because of Hurts' legs. He can extend plays on third down, extend drives, score touchdowns with his legs. Last year, Hurts ran for 784 yards, or Goff only ran for 87. So even though Goff might be a little bit of a better passer, I think with Jalen's legs, it gives him the edge.
Definitely. I think even now going into Jalen Hurts' third year with the Eagles, second as a full-time starter, I think you definitely have the upside for the Eagles. Like you said, his legs are a big advantage, extending plays, overall making things happen. Definitely good sign for the Eagles. Now, how's the offseason additions going to help the Eagles today?
I think that the Eagles are going to try to get A.J. Brown going early and often. I think he's going to have a monster game, but I think the person who's probably going to have the biggest impact, one of the more underrated moves from the offseason, is Hassan Reddick. The Lions have a lot of injuries on their offensive line this week. They got Big V out for the game, Kramer's out, and Ragnow's questionable. So, Reddick had 11 sacks last year, and I feel like he kind of is under the radar as an offseason move because he was the first one, and everyone's like, oh, we need to do more moves. But one of the biggest problems with the team last year was that they couldn't get to the quarterback. And adding Reddick is huge, and I think with a banged-up offensive line, I think he is going to have the biggest impact of any of the offseason moves.
I love that. I think for me, A.J. Brown, obviously, but also I think James Bradberry is going to have a huge game. Jameson Williams as a wide receiver, too, there in Detroit. Had young legs, great wide receiver. I think locking up those receivers, making them go to the run game, which we know the Eagles have great defense against. I think eliminate the pass game and then let your run defense do the work is one thing the Eagles need to focus on today.
Well, the corners are good too, adding Bradbury, because Williams is on PUP, so he's not even playing for the first 4 weeks.
Exactly.
They got St. Brown, and then they got a bunch of other guys that, haven't really made a name for themselves in the league. So you put Slay on St. Brown, and then you can kind of just let Bradbury cover those other guys. And hopefully, if Slay takes away St. Brown, Bradbury can really shine.
I 100% agree. Take a quick thing from our sponsor. This stream is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Philly Sports Report to save $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Next we're going to get into your expectations for Hurts in 2022.
I think the expectations for Hurts needs to be really high. I think he was okay last year, not great. And I think that they kind of won in spite of him instead of because of him. So I think that going into a year where he's probably going to be looking for a contract at the end of the year, he needs to be really good. And I think that with the offseason moves that we made too, the expectations should be win the division, win a playoff game at least for this team. And if Hurts doesn't take that next step, I don't think they can do that. So I think that, we want Hurts to be that next guy for the Eagles for the next 5-8 years. So for this team to go where everybody wants them to be, he's got to take that leap. And, we'll see if he can do it this year. And I think that also a big part for Hurts is that they kind of took the ball out of his hands last year to win games. And he needs to improve as a passer. It's just what it is. And if we don't see that, then, he's probably not going to get that contract next year. But I just think that the expectations, whether or not you think he's the guy, need to be high, because if the expectations are set low and he meets it, then, what do we really have in our quarterback? We need to set high expectations so we know that we have that next guy for the next couple of years, because we have so much young talent on the team that if he's the guy, we can just continue with him.
Yeah, that is perfectly said. like you said, taking the ball out of his hands late in the game. I think at college we see he can shine in the big moment. I think now after a year under his belt, I think you got to go to him in the big situations, especially with his receivers now, Brown, Smith, even Goddard at tight end. I think you got to trust the guy and make him or let him make things happen. Um, so now, what are you expecting from the defense today?
I kind of touched on this a little bit with Reddick, but
Mhm.
the Lions have a lot of injuries on their offensive line, so I think that getting to the quarterback and having a bunch of sacks today is what we should expect. Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham coming back, Fletcher Cox. They got injuries up on the interior of that offensive line. So Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Hargrave, they should be able to just rip through those backup offensive linemen. So I think that getting pressure on the quarterback should really be what we expect from the defense. And I mean, the Lions' offense is, we'll see because it's the first game of the season. So who knows? It's different every year. But with Goff at quarterback, they don't have the best offense in the NFL or anything like that. So I think we should expect them to hold them to under 20 points, really dominate this game because they've added so many players on the defense this year that they should just be able to go out and dominate bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think you hit that one on the head. I think you got to rattle Golf early, get him off his game. I mean, we really don't know what his game is though, but we know he's a good passer, likes to stay in the pocket. I think attack through the middle, like you said, Cox, Hargrave, get to the quarterback early. We heard from Cox last year. He wants to put more out there this year, and I think seeing that in game one would be huge for the Eagles.
Yeah, and obviously, DeAndre Swift is their best offensive player. So if we stop him, then they're Goff's okay. So if we stop their running game, and that'll help because up the middle, like I said, they have a bunch of injuries. So if we can stuff Swift and hold him to 80 yards, 70 yards, 60 yards, we should have a pretty good day because then we're forcing them to throw into Slay, Bradbury, Gardner, Johnson in the backfield now. So I think holding DeAndre Swift is, containing him is going to be the biggest key.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. We're gonna move into our injury reports now. You went over the lines a little bit, but for the Eagles, some main guys that are out today is Andre Dillard on the line. He has a forearm injury and he's out till at least week 5. Greg Ward wouldn't be a huge part in this Eagles offense now, but still he's out with a toe injury. And backup running back Trey Sermon is out due to coach decision. But what do you expect with these guys being out? Will it change any of the game for the Eagles, or do you think they should be set?
Well, it's good because none of the starters are hurt, right? So it's not going to change any of their game plan, really. It's just going to change if, say, I think Dillard's the biggest one, obviously, because if Mailata, for some reason goes down, they got nobody now to back him up. And the Lions now got Aiden Hutchinson. So if Mailata goes down, they're going to be sending him over the backup or third string left tackle now since Dillard's out. So I think it doesn't really affect us right now, but if anyone were to go down, it could be something because obviously we traded Rager away. You were saying how Greg Ward's out, so we traded Rager away. So God forbid anything happens to one of the starting wide receivers, you got to bring Covey in, who doesn't really have any NFL experience. At least Greg Ward, has experience like that. So it shouldn't affect anything, game plan wise or anything like that. But in the case that somebody does go down, having our couple of our depth guys out kind of hurts.
Yeah, I think you got that one right on. Sam, what is your key to the game for today?
All right, so one of my first keys to the game is to get the passing game going early. Last year, when we played the Lions, Hurts only threw for like 103 yards about, and they didn't really throw the ball. They just ran the ball down their throats. And we kind of saw in the Tampa playoff game last year that teams are going to just stack the box against us, say, if you're going to run it, you're not going to run it far, and we're going to, try to have Jalen throw the ball. And so I think that it's huge for us to come out early, establish the passing game, because then if we establish the passing game, maybe some of those guys they have in the box have to, widen out. That will open up the run again. So I think that getting the passing game early and showing the Lions that hey, Jalen's approved. We got AJ Brown now. We can pass the ball on them is a big key to start this game.
I agree. Mine is actually so similar to that. I think like you said with the offense, we need to get out early, put some points on the board, change their defensive scheme early, and really rattle their young line, like you said, Aiden Hutchinson. Get them rattled early.
Yeah, and a lot has been made about Hard Knocks, and this is the first Lions sellout they've had since 2019 or whatever. And the Lions fans are going to show up. They're going to be crazy. It's week one. Everyone believes they got a chance. Week one. So I think it'll be huge to if we get the ball first or whatever. Kind of like we were saying, go down and get a score early, take an early lead, take that crowd out of it, and hopefully start off the game early and show the Lions that we're here to dominate.
Yeah. Okay, with that being said, let's hear the game prediction.
All right, so I actually think that the game is going to be close early. Like I said, that's first Lions sellout since 2019. While there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there are a lot of Detroit fans. So I think Detroit comes out hot. They come out early. I think that it's going to be close early. Maybe potentially hot tied at halftime. But I just think we're the better team. So I think we're going to take over in the second half. Hopefully we've established the pass early enough that we can kind of run the ball, get a lead in the second half. And my final score prediction is the Eagles 28 and the Lions 17.
I love it. For me, I would say Eagles offense is going to be astounding. I think Hurts is going to establish himself. I think even Sanders is going to get in there a little bit and really show what he's made of. I think they're going to, once they establish the passing game in the beginning, I think they will definitely go to the run, as we've seen from this Eagle offense all of last season. Defense, I think, is going to be shut down. My final score prediction is 35-14. I'm having a big win for the Eagles, 21-point win, 3 scores. I think it's really what you need for the first game of the year. So now let's get into some questions from Johnny Callan. Specific expectations for Hurts today. What do you got, Sam?
All right, so kind of what I touched on a little bit earlier, but I think that Hurts needs to show us that he has improved in the passing game early. I mean, it's kind of hard to put a number expectation on it, like passing yards, touchdowns, that kind of stuff, because, the game might play out different where we get a big lead and have to run. But I think that Hurts needs to show us that he's improved in the passing game and that, we can get out to a lead early. And I think I'm expecting a big game from Hurts today, honestly. I don't want to put numbers on it, but I do expect him to have a high number of passing yards and, passing touchdowns. And I think that, one, they're going to try to show it that, Hurts has improved. And honestly, I think he will. So,
yeah, I mean, like you said, he's going to have a big game. I don't really think you can put a number on it, like you said. If they get out to a big league early, it's going to be more of a run game. And a big enough lead, maybe even Hurts comes out. But that would have to be a huge lead, especially week one. I think getting chemistry in this is going to be a real key. So with that question being answered, please comment any other questions that you have, and me and Sam will do our best to answer them.
yeah, and with Hurts, I mean, it's kind of my expectation for the game is kind of the same as my expectation for the year, right? I need to see that Jalen can win passing the ball. I mean, it's great that he can run, and in today's game, you need a quarterback who can run. I mean, you see Josh Allen dunking on dudes and picking up third yards with picking up third downs with runs. Breaks the back of the defense. So I just think my expectation for the whole year of Hurts is to show me that you're the guy going forward. You can pass to win while also run to win, and instead of being a run first guy, be a pass first guy with a run after.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Seeing 16 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, similar numbers. I think, like you said, seeing the ability to pass, and then second off, being able to run in like worst case scenario. So 8 minutes left. The Birds have taken the field. This has been our first ever Eagles pregame show at Philly Sports Reports, brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Philly Sports Report. That is Philly Sports Report, no S, to save $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow all of our social media and check out phillysportreports.com, the post-game recap of the game by one of our Eagles analysts. Enjoy the game, everyone. Go Birds.
Go Birds.